Hello, lovely family. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. So in this video, I'm going to take you guys along with us to Disney World Animal Kingdom. So we first gonna be riding and the driver will be telling us much about these animals we're gonna see in Africa Safari. Okay, so don't go anywhere. Smash that like button, drop your comment, share this video to your friends and family. So we'll be enjoying ride whilst the driver tell us more about these animals in this safari. So guys, let's get started.
Over on the left-hand side here, those lighter colored antelopes towards the front of the truck are the greater kudus, and then that rust-colored one up there on the hill is the bongo. And moving all the way to the right-hand side, he's kind of hiding out behind that bamboo there. There is an okapi all the way back there. Looks like he's completely hiding now.
Look, Alvin, look.
He just keeps popping his head out there. Prehensile means finger-like, so basically if you can do it with your finger, they can do it with their tongue, and that comes in quite handy for stripping leaves and vegetation off of branches. Now going back to those forest antelopes, like I mentioned, that lighter colored one was the greater kudu. You can tell those were female greater kudus because they do not have any horns. Meanwhile, the male's horns can get to be about 6 feet in length. Now here on the left-hand side, there is a black rhino laying down back there against the rocks. That black rhino can get up to 3,000 pounds in. That other antelope we saw back there at the beginning of the forest, the rust-colored one, was known as the bongo. Their horns can get up to 3 feet in length, and they're commonly referred to as the ghosts of the forest because of how hard they are to spot in the wild. Coming up on the left-hand side again, these black and white birds are known as the saddle-bill stork. They get that name from that yellow saddle shape on the front of their bill, and they do not have any vocal cords. So in order to communicate with one another, they will rattle their bills to each other. You may have been able to tell on that greater kudu and bongo back there that they both had some lighter colored vertical stripes going down their backs. Those are camouflaging techniques that help them blend in with the rays of sunlight that peek in through the gaps in the trees up above them. But as we head out of the Little Etruria Forest, we're now entering the Sabi River. Like that name suggests, there might be a few aquatic animals in store for us up here, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled to the water. Or outside of the water, it looks like, as they're on the pink-backed pelicans. The pink-backed pelicans get their name from the pink coloration that appears on their back during their mating season. That pink coloration can also spread to their pouches, their bills, and their facial skin, almost making it look as if they are blushing. Now, you may have noticed that hippo had his eyes, ears, and nose all located on the top side of his head. And that is because that's an evolutionary feature of the hippo that allows them to remain almost completely submerged throughout the day, helping them stay cool in the water and out of the hot African sun. Whenever they decide to completely submerge themselves, however, the Nile hippo can hold its breath for about 8 minutes, and they can even close off their nostrils and fold back their ears in order to prevent water from getting in. Looks like there's some more Nile hippos here on the left-hand side as well, both in and out of the water. Crocodiles. The Nile crocodiles are the largest crocodilians in all of Africa. They weigh around 500 pounds each and can measure in anywhere up to 16 to 20 feet in length. While the Nile crocodile has one of the strongest bite forces in the entire continent of Africa, they can be surprisingly gentle with their jaws as well. The mother Nile crocodile will even roll the eggs of her young around in her mouth to help them hatch when it's time for her babies to hatch. And once those baby crocodiles are out of their eggshells, their mother will continue to carry them around in her mouth for a little bit to help keep them safe and protected from any predators. Coming up here on the right-hand side of the truck, this large tree with a thick trunk is known as the baobab tree. It also gets the nickname the upside-down tree because, as you'll be able to tell, those branches kind of look like roots sticking straight up out of the ground. Making our way down this hill, we are now entering the West Savannah. So now's the time I'd like to point out that handy-dandy animal spotting guide located above your heads. While the West Savannah is home to many well-known African animals, there may also be a few that you've never seen before or never heard of. So with that animal spotting guide on your side, you'll become an expert animal spotter in no time. Looks like the first animals we're going to spot here in the West Savannah are those smaller antelope all the way in the back there on the right-hand side with the dark stripe down their side. Those are known as the springbok. And then closer to the truck up here, these larger antelopes are the common eland. And then straight ahead of us, that is a Maasai giraffe. The springbok back there get their name because when they are in danger, they will spring into the air in a method known as pronking, in which they can leap up to 6 feet in the air and 13 feet across in a single bound to help them escape any predators. Now, these two common elands that we're passing are the largest antelopes on the entire reserve. They can weigh up to 2,000 pounds, but don't worry, they don't let that weight keep them down, quite literally, as they are able to leap an astounding 6 to 8 feet straight up in the air from a standing position, despite the heavy weight. And then lastly, those Maasai giraffes get to be about 18 to 20 feet in height, which is about as tall as those crocodiles back there were long. And thanks to their long legs, they can travel a pretty surprising 35 miles an hour over short distances, or about 10 miles an hour over longer distances. Over on the left-hand side, all the way back there on that hill, those darker antelopes with the large hooked horns are known as the sable antelope. The sable antelope are quite unique because rather than other antelope species that will run at the sign of danger, stand up for the animals here on the reserve and out there in the wild and defend them against the threats that face them. Making our way around the savannah here, you may be thinking to yourself, Safari Guide Nick, what are all of these piles of dirt on either side of the truck? Well, these are the termite mounds. They're made out of red clay, saliva, and dung. And once they're hardened and baked in the hot African sun, they can become as hard as concrete, making them excellent scratching posts for many of the animals here on the savannah. You can tell this is a Maasai giraffe because the edges of its spots are a bit jagged and irregular, especially when you compare that to the spots of the reticulated giraffe up on your spotting guide. You'll notice that the reticulated giraffe spots are a lot cleaner and more geometric, while the Maasai giraffe spots are a bit more organic in their shape. Here on the right as well are a few wildebeest. The wildebeest are those harrier antelopes out there with the darker color. They get their name from the Afrikaans term for wild beast, and they are migratory antelopes that will travel in annual migrations known as the Great Migration, in herds of up to 1.5 million wildebeest. The wildebeest also go by another name, the Gnu, spelled G-N-U, based on the little sound they make that goes new. Travel in herds of up to 1.5 million wildebeest, and that makes them the second largest migrating sized animal in the entire world. And we're talking size of their herds, not size of their creature. So can anyone guess what the number one largest migrating animal would be in the entire world?
An elephant?
They may be a little closer than you think. They're actually the closest animal on the entire reserve. You may be sitting next to one. They are people. The wildebeest are second in their migrational numbers, only 2 people.
Look at him, look at him.
Who knew? And that's a new with the G and U. All right, back there on the left, I noticed a few downed logs and branches, and then here on the right, there are some trees that are knocked over. So there must be something big enough around here to cause all of that damage. I don't think it was the springboks that we saw earlier. Looks like there's the culprit there on the right-hand side, an African elephant.
Look at an elephant.
Try to swing around and get a better look at that elephant. But you may have noticed him flapping his ears quite a bit. That's because when the African elephants flap their ears, they're able to circulate blood throughout their head and body, thanks to the blood vessels on the backside of their ears. that help cool them down by up to 15 degrees. Talk about air conditioning. Don't worry, we'll get a better view of some elephants up here soon, I believe. But until then, I'd like to share an interesting little story with you guys about the elephants. A few years ago, there were some farmers having problems with elephants trampling all of their crops. No matter what the farmers did, nothing stopped the elephants, as they are nature's bulldozers. Around that same time, some of the researchers here on this very reserve found out that elephants are not too fond of bees. So the farmers and the researchers teamed up and created some beehive fences. They put those fences around the farmers' crops, and they were quite the success. They had about an 80% success rate, which kept the elephants away from the farmers' crops and out of areas where they might have been in more danger to threats like poaching, as well as preserving the farmers' crops and saving their livelihoods. In addition to the money they could make off their crops, the farmers now had an extra form of revenue coming from the honey that those bees would make. That project is known as the Elephants and Bees Project, and like I mentioned, it started right here on this very reserve. And off to either side of the truck, there is some red clay. We can even spot some tusk marks here on the right-hand side of that red clay. That's because red clay contains minerals in it that otherwise would not be found in the diet of the African elephant. So where there's red clay, there's sure to be some African elephants near, trying to get their daily vitamins in. And it looks like there's some more African elephants off to our left-hand side here. I'm trying to get a little closer to them as well. The African elephants are pretty well known for their powerful trunks. That's because those trunks are made of thousands of muscles, more in fact than in the entire human body, and more than in every single person on this trunk's body put together. That trunk is a combination of the elephant's upper lip and their nose, and it is prehensile, just like the tongue of the okapi and the giraffe and the upper lip of that black rhino. There's even two little prehensile digits on the end of their trunk that help act as fingers to help them grab things like food to bring closer to their mouth. If you ever see an elephant that looks a little dirty or muddy, don't worry, that's not bad hygiene. It's actually just a really great skincare routine, as the African elephants have extremely sensitive skin. So what they'll do is use those powerful trunks to fling mud and dirt up onto their backs to act as a form of natural sunblock that protects their skin from the sun's rays. Looks like those elephants are over there on our left. But also off to our left is a flamboyance of greater flamingos. The flamboyance is what you call a group of flamingos, and the greater flamingos are the largest flamingo species and the lightest in color. However, if you look down there on the island, you may spot a few fuzzy gray chicks. Those are the baby greater flamingos. Those babies will keep that gray color for about the first 2 years of their life before earning their famous pink feathers. And the flamingos get that pink color from the protein known as beta-carotene, which can be found in their favorite food, the brine shrimp. Unlike their friends the African elephants, the white rhinos do not have powerful trunks to fling mud and dirt up onto their backs with. So instead they'll wallow around in large mud pits like you can see off to the left-hand side, to coat themselves in a thick layer of mud that will not only help protect them from the sun, but cool them down and act as a form of natural bug repellent as well. There on the right-hand side, looks like there's an ostrich that's just laying down. That ostrich is the largest bird in the world, and although they are flightless birds, they are the fastest land animal in the world on 2 legs. However, if that ostrich is looking for a race, I recommend she stays put where she is and keep laying down. Because here on the left-hand side are the fastest land animals in the entire world, the cheetahs. Looks like they're laying down on the left-hand side under that tree. Pull forward so everybody can get a good view. Those cheetahs can reach speeds of around 60 miles an hour thanks to their unique physiology, such as having a much smaller skull in comparison to their body, making them more aerodynamic, and having semi-retractable claws, which means that as they run, they can choose to leave their claws out to give them a little bit more traction, kind of like when an athlete wears cleats. truck, my friends on board who are fans of Disney's The Lion King may think this rock structure looks a little familiar. While this is not Pride Rock, it is the same type of rock structure known as a kopie. Lions like to use kopies to get a higher vantage point over the land when looking for prey, and for laying around on the hot rocks throughout the day as they take their cat naps, like that male is demonstrating for you on the left. The lions are pretty much professionals when it comes to napping, as they will rest an average of 16 to 20 hours every day. And when they're not napping, the male lion will be the one to stay home and watch over the pride and the young, while the female lioness will be the one to go out and do most of the hunting for the pride. Now here on the right-hand side, we can spot those white rhinos I was mentioning earlier. The white rhinos get quite a bit larger than their cousin, the black rhino we saw earlier, as the white rhinos can get up to 5,000 pounds in weight. The white rhinos also get their name from the Afrikaans term bite, which means wide. So if you get a good look at their upper lip and you see them again, you'll notice that it's quite wide and squared off, giving them their namesake. It looks like there's that female lioness as well, laying down for her cat nap. Pretty fun fact for you guys is that the male lion you just saw back there is a bit of a celebrity here on the safari. That exact male lion was the reference model that the animators used for Simba in the most recent Lion King remake movie. Now on the left-hand side, in addition to this white rhino, there are some warthogs back there, which are the largest burrowing animals in all of Africa. Those warthogs would dig their burrows with their top tusks in their hooves, and then back down into them with their razor-sharp bottom tusks left exposed to ward off any unwanted visitors or predators. Coming back to this water buck over here on our right hand side, wherever it went, somewhere over here, shaggy or antelope, here it is, grazing on these bushes. The water buck is a quite unique antelope because rather than being migratory like the wildebeest, they will instead be quite set ostrich eggs down in that nest. Those ostrich eggs are the largest bird egg in the world. Each one weighs around 3 pounds, which is about the same as 24 regular chicken eggs you find at the grocery store. And their shells are so tough that a full-grown human could stand on one single ostrich egg, put all their weight down on it, and still not crack the shell. Now you can also tell that all the ostriches we saw today were female, because they are much lighter in color. Those females have kind of a light gray to light brown color to their feathers, while the males will typically have jet black feathers with white tips to their wings. As we enter the final area of the reserve, I'd like to welcome you to Magadi Glen, the home of the Nigerian dwarf goats. So while these guys may look small and cute, keep in mind they are fully grown. That's just where they get the name dwarf from. Goats are also typically known for being quite playful creatures, but it's not all just kidding around with them. Whenever the goats are playing, it is a maturing exercise that allows them to establish dominance within their groups. And if you notice that these goats have a little bit of a potbelly on them, that's because they're what's known as a ruminant, which means they have 4 chambers in their stomach to help them digest their food a little better. Unfortunately, my friends, with the Nigerian dwarf goats now behind us, that does mean our safari here today is going to be coming to a close. But don't worry, if you're still hungry for more facts on all your favorite animals and ways that you can help out with conservation efforts, there's still plenty of ways to expand your knowledge from home. Whether that's reading a book on your favorite animal, doing some Google searches, or watching one of the many documentaries over on Disney+. I encourage you to go out, take your favorite facts that you learned here today, combine them with your favorite facts that you learned on your own, and share them with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. Impress them with your newfound animal knowledge and get them excited about conservation as well. But speaking of streaming and conservation, one easy way that we can all help out is by recycling our old electronics. The batteries in our electronics contain the mineral known as coltan. Coltan has an infinite lifetime, meaning that it never goes bad. And it's commonly mined in many of the areas that our favorite animal friends we saw here today on the reserve call home. So by recycling our old electronics, we can reuse the coltan that we've already mined, cutting down on the need for more coltan and coltan mining, and preserving the homes of our animal friends. Now, here at Kilimanjaro Safaris, we do not like to say goodbye, as that is far too sad, far too final. So instead, on behalf of everyone here, once again, my friends, my name is Nick. I'd like to thank you for riding with me. And I want to leave you with one final Swahili phrase, which is Kwaherini. Kwaherini means go well. So go well, my friends, go wild, and go enjoy the rest of your day here in Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Guys, I hope you enjoy watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.